listening to episode 2 of the Grappling Cooperative. I am your host, The Vigity, with John the Nature Boy, discussing the recent Dynamo Pro Indie Wrestling event from June 9th, 2018. Check out our website at comedysuplex.xyz. Subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. Leave us a review, and if you would like to support our show, we have a PayPal donate option where you can make a one-time donation or become a patron at patreon.com/comedysuplex, and for $1.99 a month, you can get extended, commercial-free editions of our show, plus exclusive bonus content. Give us a follow on Twitter at Comedy Suplex and Grappling C, that's Grappling and the letter C, and follow me at Peach Machine and The Vigity for more wackiness. Every follow helps. Every patron subscriber brings us a little closer to our first goal of buying real microphones. We love everyone who supports, but really, who cares? Now, on with the show.
What was the next match? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. I was backstage. I think it was a tag match.
The tag match?
You said somebody did a Tyler Breeze gimmick.
Yes, there's a Tyler. I think that may have been next.
I remember this. I showed up and I see this kid with the lips on his trunk and everything, and I just remember like brushing his hair and being like, I think we're doing the same gimmick tonight. This could get awkward.
He was like full blown Tyler Breeze. Had the tassels on his boots. He had his hair in pigtails. He was like, it was like I'm so pretty gimmick, which is it's similar to yours, but yours is more. I felt like. I don't know. Yours is pretty like, his was more feminine. His was more like
a glamour boy.
I'm a glamour boy. You're like a body gimmick. Yours is more of a Rick Rude thing.
Yes.
Than a Tyler Breeze.
That's
thing.
Exactly who I was going for.
Well,
in fact, one of the spots that we had was called the Rick Rude.
Is that where your pants got pulled down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were.
Damn, this thing happens every match. You'd think I'd learn.
So yeah, he was much more of a Tyler Breeze thing. So he's doing like a Tyler Breeze thing. I can't even remember what his opponent was doing. That match was, it was one of those things where coming off the Mikaze trainee match, it was like, okay, at least this is like, this guy has a physique. He was a big, he wasn't shredded, but he was like, he works out. He at least is like ingesting calories. So that's a plus.
Yeah. Continue.
And that match was passable. It was serviceable. It didn't do anything spectacular. And definitely thought like, and even aside from just the in-ring work, which was slightly better, I was like, this heat is like, it wasn't any sort of real heat. It was that's the thing too. It's like cheap heat to me does nothing for me. To me, it's just like.
Well, explain that. Explain what cheap heat means.
Meaning when I say cheap heat, I mean stuff like this is just guaranteed Pavlovian. You say this, they know they're supposed to.
I know what you mean, and I hate it.
And I feel like it used to be like cheap heat meant this is a hot button subject that like you rip on somebody's town. No matter who you are or what they know about you, they're always going to take offense to it. It's always going to get heat. Now, really, to me, cheap heat means it's just like you act in this way, say these sort of things, and they just will boo because it's like they know we're the wrestler. There's two wrestlers and a wrestling audience. Those are the three characters, and our role in this is to boo at this point. There's no emotion, no like genuine kind of. Even I don't want to say participation from the audience, but like the boos are just obligatory. Just like this is the time. That's might as well instead of saying
that's your
St. Louis sucks. Say this is the time that you boo. Boo. Okay, boo. It's work. It's almost like you're like, oh, when do we not get paid like the wrestlers? When do we get our tickets?
When
to
you
sell
walk
out
in the
front?
door,
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
See, this is my problem with Bully Ray. He does this exact same shit on Ring of Honor TV. Like he goes, like he'll say, and you can don't chant cheeseburger. like he'll literally say shit like that. You can hear them yelling for cheeseburger, but they shouldn't be chanting cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. That is like on this cadence, and don't clap.
I'm raising my arm, and that's. I just have a tick. That's not me trying to get you to stand up.
Don't give this a standing ovation.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
like
it irritates
I had him in the palm, and then they come back. Guarantee they get backstage.
That's what
I had him in the palm of my hand. They're eating it up. It's like, no, they like, what are we gonna do? You know, like we paid our ticket already. We're here wanting to have a good time, so we're not gonna just like we're here to participate. But it's like afterwards, it's just empty, and you're like, it doesn't. You're doing that instead of developing a character or like developing a story or doing other the stuff that you should be doing in that spot that's like that has substance. And not that wrestling needs to have you don't need to be, it doesn't need to be Shakespeare here, but like still at least like honestly like the stuff. And I'm not just trying to, hey, I'm not just it's not just because we're sitting on a tight little couch together here, but like I felt like when you came out there was across that line of like, oh, this guy, he's just a dislikable person.
Exactly.
That, like, like this, like, come on, man. Oh, this guy's a dick. Like,
there's no need for that.
Yeah, like, like that. It's just more like, you can't skip the steps. It's like, if you're a dick, then people don't like you, and then to C, which is boo you. A to B to C, and people want to say, well, let's just cut out B and go straight to whatever. I'm here. And then I want you to boo. But if there's no, like, there's
no
like,
reason for it.
Yeah, don't try to go to C. Try to be a dick, and the boos will come automatically. Like portray a character that's booable, and you'll get the reaction you want, as opposed to like just trying to get the reaction. So that's like the Tyler Breeze guy. I felt was just super. His match was serviceable. They didn't do anything impressive. Was better than the first match, but just like, well, this is just cheap heat. The next match, there's a tag match, which they were actually kind of, and they did kind of a different gimmick. There were two guys, which was weird. The only weird thing about that is, at least the best I could tell, both teams were heels. Like, they were doing kind of a weird, badass kind of biker thing, I feel like. I don't know. What they were doing, the way they worked their match, the way they worked in the ring, their gimmicks were kind of incorporated into it. It all worked together. It had like a direction at least. So I like that. Like it wasn't the worst. They didn't do it. Once again, didn't do anything spectacular. Work rate was was fair at best. There were from this point on too, just the little stuff. That's the other thing is early on, like the punches and all, just the brawling was terrible. Brawling got better as it went. Then the
bad brawling is like more exposing than bad fake wrestling. It's just like the punches that are just unbelievable. It is not even that like the punches I throw like are not technically sound punches in any way, but you got to have a guy selling good, and you got to have connection. You got to have some sound.
Well, it's a double whammy of, and especially when they're chopping and the chops are echoing throughout the entire thing, and they throw a punch and it's just like nothing.
Right.
Like. If a hand hitting the chest, sure, it's going to clap a little more, but there'd be some sort of sound. And then the other thing is, it's like the way it's sold is just like one punch anywhere on the body, and once again, it's the total like Mortal Kombat waiver, like just overselling and like no like no felt pain, not just damage
stun.
Or what stun. Yeah, exactly. Don't just be stunned. Sell that hurt this area of my body. And then that you're trying to avoid it, fighting back. Brawling's best, I think, at least when it starts deep in the match, when guys are fatigued, is where you can start to kind of go to that, like, I'm tired, and like that punch takes it. Yeah. But early in a match, it has to be a brawl where it's like a brawl.
It has to be a hockey fight.
Yeah, exactly. And which guys weren't doing. But anyway, overall, so then we went into the gauntlet match.
Yeah.
Gauntlet match
was good, yeah.
It was really good.
Sounded good.
There's some really good spots. They teased some spots off the top rope, which they couldn't do, but they did some dives to the outside, which were good. Because once again, ceiling was too low, so they couldn't do it. But like, it was kind of cool that they'd go up, and you think, oh god, are they going to try to do a top rope spot here? It was like it was one guy, and he took on 4 opponents, and they were gauntlet style. If he'd win the match, the next guy would come out. And by the last match, it really did. They did it perfect, where like the second to last guy seemed like the big heel, and it was like, so winning over him was like, oh, this is this huge victory. And this other face comes out, and the face is like, I don't want to fight this guy. He's just been in 3 other matches, but like kind of like, come on. You're like, all right. So you felt like, okay, he could definitely win because this guy's now a face in the ring also, and like it looks good for whatever.
Right.
It just like the way the booking of that match, honestly, I thought was
pretty
good.
strong.
Was strong, yeah. You really were like, there were different times. Like, oh, okay, he's gonna go over here. Oh wait, no, this could go. I mean, this could be the real story if they're really pushing this guy. He's gonna win anyway. And he did. The guy who was in there the whole time ended up winning the gauntlet
Mike
match.
Outlaw, I believe.
Yeah. And the work was solid. Was really good. I think that was the last match before intermission.
It was.
You guys came out after intermission. You sent me a text about the match that said, "I'm wrestling this guy Outcast. Don't know anything about him." I don't know if you but then you got there and you're like, "Oh, I've wrestled this guy before." I'm assuming like you'd worked with him, right, in GCW.
Yeah, I was fucking with you.
Oh.
I was fucking with
you.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to remember who Outcast was.
We had a real famous hair versus hair ladder match that was at Adult Effin' Only.
Was I at that match?
Probably.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, Outcast and I wrestled, half dozen times, something like that.
So this is a blood feud.
Blood feud, hair feud, in fact. Yeah, we did a hair versus hair ladder match in which I shaved him bald at the time.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
He's still sporting it.
Yeah,
that was in this contract. You were never allowed to grow your hair back.
Yes, eternity was
wow
stated in our right below our pay, which was 0.
All stipulations are legally binding and internal.
Right. Yeah, and so I wrestled the Outcast and
destroyed him.
You said I didn't give him anything. He had 2 comebacks.
I honestly watching it was like, whoa, A, doesn't actually wrestle for this promotion. B, he's the heel. The Viggity doesn't wrestle for this promotion. He's the heel in the match. And he's getting 90% of the offense throughout the match. I was positive he was going over.
Swerved ya.
Yep, it was a full-on swerve.
But I didn't pin him, and he didn't tap. I put him out.
That's true. He did pass out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real Bret Hart, Steve Austin.
It was a real Bret Hart. That's what we were going for.
I got that.
I got busted open the hard way. My elbow still split
That
open.
was one of the 3... I forgot to mention, I do want to give props. 3 best spots of the night were, A... your guys' dive out into the you going into the guardrail rather looked brutal, was rough.
Hurt.
There was a huge dive over the guardrail into the crowd during the gauntlet match, and then there was a massive, for no reason in the opening match, Mikaze destroys the rookie. The rookie gets up afterwards, is looking out. So if the ring entrance is like at whatever 12 o'clock, he's looking at probably like 3 o'clock. Does not have his back to the ring entrance. Mikaze comes back out with a chair, and the kid doesn't see him, and he just waffles him. After having beat him, waffles him with a chair. It was a monster chair.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Destroyed him with a chair.
I didn't know about that.
For no apparent reason. That was one of my favorite spots of the match, of the night.
Like, little things I thought about in my match was like, it's like, no, he should reverse me here. Like, he does need to fight back at this point. And it's like, all right, I'm kicking his ass. I need to kick the shit out of him so that when
we get a tape, I'd like to see what those moments were where he was fighting back. No, he got some. I'm just kidding. He got some offense.
But my point was like, if the finish is I'm putting him to sleep, then I need to have beat the shit out of him and make him look like he took an ass kicking.
Yeah.
And
I mean, let's be clear here. At one point, had him completely laid out, face down the mat, ran from behind, and jumped on his back and screamed, "Did someone say California server?"
That was just for you.
Kevin enjoyed it too.
All
Kevin
right.
and Evans. But if that's not like humiliating a guy, I mean, they're like, how can you say like, oh, it was an even competitive match when you were doing California?
I'm not saying it was an even.
I know, yeah.
I'm not saying it was an even competitive match. I'm saying like, who the fuck am I? Nobody. So if I come out there and just start selling a bunch,
that's true.
I needed to come out there and establish myself as a fucking as a badass.
That's true. And then when the 0 people who were at this show come to the next show,
no.
Do you think that they have like a
no, they got a following. Yes.
Okay.
They do real well. Yeah. I mean,
well,
that was the first time at Fubar.
But like that's my question is like, and I always wonder is like a promotion like that. Do you feel like the people who go to that Fubar show, even if it's like this is where I go, when they're here, I go and watch them. But it's like, but you feel like people, they're over here, I'm going to go there to watch. And then,
yes.
Okay.
Based on the people that I saw there that I recognized, they're the independent wrestling crowd.
I don't deny it. I just was wondering, just curious.
Now, I I don't know. This might be the first time they've gone to this new place. I'm not sure exactly, but
I mean, I'm sure that they'll go where they go.
But it's a tournament that we're doing, and this time.
Well, then what's the point of changing venues? I mean, do you think you get? I mean, obviously, maybe there's some. And just like, okay, anyway, there's still reasons, I guess. It makes sense anyway. I'm just
because it's not your only crowd.
Yeah.
You do try to draw new crowds.
Maybe that place is flying, and someone who's never heard. Oh, I go here every week. I never heard of them. I'll come see.
Right,
the show.
And that place wasn't exactly set up for wrestling.
That was a terrible place for wrestling.
Yeah, it turned out to be not so bad.
It wasn't so bad, but just the fact the ceiling was so low was a little hindrance, and
only having.
It's not the worst, but. It wasn't great.
You got to have people on more than two sides, otherwise it's tough to see visually sight lines, things like that. But this next place is supposedly bigger and whatever. But anyway, what was after me?
After you, was there one? I'm trying to remember. I don't think we saw. So at that point, I went back to talk to.
Oh no, I wanted to say is they're doing a tournament in this next one.
Oh yeah.
And I needed to have a fucking win to get in this tournament. Otherwise, who the fuck am I?
Well, there you go.
So I was I had to have a definitive ass kicking to get into.
Wait, what's the tournament for?
For the fucking title, or to establish a number one contender or something.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm out in the first round. I don't care. But I needed to go in there and go, look, I'm a guy. Here.
I'm a guy. Hey, I'm somebody.
Hey,
I'm somebody.
I'm taped up. I brought hand tape.
I do want to say, and this is the other thing about your match. Not only, I have my personal preferences in wrestling style. I like a match at least that sets up like a wrestling match and not just a fight and builds into a fight it's going to be. But you're doing more, and especially when no one else is doing that on the card. So you were doing a lot of jiu-jitsu transitions and submission holds and making it interesting, and in some of your, you were saying that story with the one guy who was like, oh come on, this isn't jiu-jitsu class, you suck. And then what'd you do? I
did a De La Hiva back take into a Barambola, and then the guy was like, all right, yeah, all right, that was good, I'll give you that one. And I was like, you shut your fat ass.
But honestly, that stuff, not only does it just look good in a vacuum, but especially when no one else on the card's doing that stuff, and it looks, and you practice that stuff every day, so it looks crisp and sharp. And the nice thing about wrestling, moves and stuff, is you can kind of legitimately do, you don't have to work them.
Right.
You just
a double leg takedown is a thing that works.
Yeah, just do it to me, and I'll be fine. And, so you can legitimately do these moves because they're more for control reasons than for hurting the person. So you can control a guy anyway. So it just looks good. That stuff looks legit
and different, and that's always good.
And so all those things together, and especially when you are as fluent in it as you are. So I don't know, for a lot of reasons, I thought it's the best match on the card, not just because I'm sitting on this couch with you.
We'll edit that part out.
Well, I am going over to Fake Tyler Breeze's house to do his podcast after this. And anything you hear on there, I'm lying to him. I'm totally just blowing smoke.
So, but how do you think, the state of, Mikey seems to think that, the state of independent wrestling is, super hot and everyone loves it, and all these guys in the indies are making tons of money, and...
it's definitely
Do you watch indies? Do you watch Ring of Honor? I don't even know if I count them as an indie
yes
anymore.
And no. I enjoy the work, and I like the product for the most part. I prefer, and not that I'm following it. Every few days or so, I'm always like, God, I really gotta get into New Japan. That's really what I like.
I think that too, and I never do.
I know if I figured out how to watch it regularly, I'd be like, this is my product. This is what I'm supposed to be watching. Every time I see anything New Japan, I'm just like, the way they present it as a sport and everything, this is what I want in pro wrestling. And Ring of Honor is close to that. My opinion of it is I like the product they're putting out. I think they're putting out great stuff. I think they got good workers. I like for a North American promotion, you're never going to get for a long time at least, you're not going to get a North American promotion presenting like New Japan, presenting like we're going to present as a sport. It's always going to have that. The idea of what pro wrestling is so ingrained in the pro wrestling audience and the population at large that they're just not ready to no, we're going to be a worked UFC. People would be, what is, people, UFC fans would be, even though I do think there's a huge crossover, it's just they wouldn't know what to do with it. They'd see it as pro wrestling, but just boring pro wrestling. It's not there's no real, there's no camp to it, which, anyway.
Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer, and it wasn't the Wrestling Observer, it was the Filthy Four F4W show. I just listened to this last night. They talked about a match with the Steiner brothers and two other guys, and Brian was saying how this is what pro wrestling would look like if it was real, and it was like guys not working with each other, stiffing the shit out of each other. Fuck you, like I'm not selling. And,
like what? Like at some point this match has to end,
right?
So we're either like this that you can almost see in their mind debating like, okay, there's two ways this could go. It's like we're in between a real fight and a worked match, and it's gonna go towards one of those. It's something to finish it.
As I remember,
but we're not sure which.
Being, and I don't remember who it was, but it sounded like the other two guys were like, oh yeah, those two guys wouldn't work either. But being told like when I was being trained, I'd be having a practice match, and I would be just getting my ass kicked and selling, and I'm just in my head thinking, well, when do I get to do something? And then the guy who I'm, quote, working with is, you got to take it back from me. I'm like, the fuck I do? This is a show, man.
Yeah.
Like you tell me, like, you're leading the show, the dance. Like, the fuck, I just got to fight back? Like, that, like, what the fuck is the point of that?
I mean, I don't know, like...
Hold on. And then this led me to another story.
Okay.
Where I saw two adult men, one Gino the Exterminator, R.I.P., versus Mark Liquid Ice Bland.
Oh,
this
is a mad classic right here.
These two adult idiots were having a fucking fight. They were having a verbal discussion. They were talking shit to each other. And
wait, in the ring?
No, outside of the ring, at practice, about something. And they were legitimately pissed. And they were like, "Oh, let's get and settle this in the ring. Let's settle this in the ring." And I swear to God, they fucking locked up. And like, it was like, we're gonna prove this by showing who's a better professional wrestler, and they like refused to work with each other. Like,
so they were working a match, but not working with each other.
But to show who was a better, it was the dumbest shit I'd ever seen. And I'm sitting there going like I've been in this business for 6 minutes, and I can tell you that this is not a way to settle an adult conflict. They're pro wrestling. I was like, you two need to knock this shit off, get out of the ring, finish your gripe, whatever it is, so I can get in there and practice my goddamn fake pro wrestling.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here thinking of a dollar amount that I would pay to see that match, and it's extremely high. I would love to see.
I remember Gino just being like, all right, let's get in the ring. And him just being like, all right, let's do it.
Like, that was like, great idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking that myself. And we're both thinking not actually have a fight, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. I think it was over who the better worker is.
Well, how did that match end? How's that match end? Does one of them put the other?
I wish I
double count out?
I wish I remembered, but I just know that it actually happened.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane.
And that's like what like sometimes wrestlers talk about stuff that's like, and it's just like.
And now Exterminator's taking a long hiesta in the sky.
But like that's just like two guys being the most ridiculous marks. Mm-hmm. Like you're just like you don't actually, and that was my experience once again going back full circle, beginning what we were talking about. My experience with indie wrestlers at a certain level is like. They're semi-legitimate like promotions running shows, but the people involved are not professionals. I mean, by definition, you are as unprofessional, you understand this business and this as little as you possibly can. Like you are pretending to be. This is play acting.
For all the way from the bottom up. From like you're pretending to be a ticket taker. Yeah. You're pretending to be a merchandise seller. Like I'm not joking, right? That's what you're saying. You're pretending to be an announcer. You're all like you're pretending to be a promoter.
But not even like within the show. I mean under that. Like you like.
No, I know, like you don't know what promoting is. Yes. You're the quote promoter.
And promoting, I don't even like fake it till you make it. Type of mentality. Like I want to do this, and I'm just going to go out there and try to put out an aura of like I know what I'm doing, and eventually I either learn what I'm doing, or people start to take me seriously, or that happens a lot in business and stuff like this. But these are just these. I mean, it's a whole different level with I think especially the wrestlers sometimes. I mean, it goes back to the whole wrestler handshake thing.
Yes, which is completely gone now, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was so just all those guys afraid to touch fingertips and. just because it's like it's all about.
They should have been afraid to touch fingertips,
Well,
but because they were all filthy human beings, and they should not have been exchanging germs. That's why they shouldn't have touched fingertips. But yeah, the worker handshake where it was, yeah, you stiff son of a bitch. I'll get
oh my
you.
God!
Yeah, oh my God, this guy
crushed my hand.
I'm sure you remember the story. So John and I were down at the South Broadway Athletic Club training facility, and I don't remember this guy's name either, but I had been training for maybe like a month or so, and he was working out, and he was like the last guy there, and I got in the ring with him, and he starts telling us, and he's like, I was like, yeah, maybe you could show me like a couple things, and he's like, well, I'd show you the pile driver. I mean, it doesn't paralyze you, but it stuns you. You're trying to put a man on his head and knock him out. That's what and we're sitting there looking at each other like.
I remember this.
Yeah.
It was the hippie guy. I just remember I don't remember his name, but his finisher was the hippie hangover.
Okay.
I remember him saying that, and it was basically like he said, "Oh yeah, WCW and WWE or WWF at the time, those are work, but the lower promotions, it's legitimate competition, and we recognize that like people want to show, so a lot of times you'll do a few things just to stretch it out a little bit.
Yes.
But no, it's not predetermined. We're really competing he's telling us this, and you're like training already at this point, still trying to work us. And this is 1998.
Right.
You're trying to wrestling
21
is
years
legit.
old.
Yeah.
We're not 6-year-olds.
Which
saying something like, yeah, powerbomb, yeah, you're trying to knock a man out with that move.
And it's more so than anything. It's like the question is like, why is this guy telling us this? Why is he trying to convince us?
Yeah.
And it's like for himself, so he can feel like important.
He protected the business or something.
Well, because it's not selling tickets. He's not. It's not like protecting exactly. It's not protecting the business. That like with a magician, you go to a magician and it's a trick. It's a trick. Hey, how'd you do that trick? It's not a trick. It was magic.
Right.
Like, all right, okay.
No, but
really.
like
I'm not gonna say it, and you're not. You can ask me all you want. I'm never gonna come out. I'm not gonna break. What character? I wish there's a word for it.
I don't know what it is.
But that to me is what's cool about it.
That's a great analogy. Is that
that wasn't really true for that guy. That guy was just a douchebag.
It's so It's so just like Will Ospreay, Ricochet stunt. Spectacular.
See, I disagree with that. That I think that's.
You think that's too much?
When you go, no, I feel like when you go and you watch that match, despite the spectacular nature of some of the moves they did, which on a certain level are like that's impossible for people to do that. You watch that match and like if you assign motivation to everything they're doing, the motivation that is clear is like, oh, they're trying to hurt the other guy and win the match.
Right.
I don't feel like when you watch that match and you're really like assigning motivation to the action that you ever like, oh, they're just trying, that doesn't make sense within this framework of trying to win a match. Like the feeling of competitiveness for that match was there the whole time. And so I mean, people saw the highlights of it, and when you see the highlights, it's like this is ridiculous. Yes. Out of context, it's definitely like crazy gymnastic, but at the same time, like I don't know, it made sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but like as much as they could, it worked within that match for me at least. So that I don't like to use that as like the example. For me, it's like the table, ladders, and chairs match, where it's just like, let's build a fort, let's build a clubhouse, all climb up in it, and then hold hands and 1, 2, 3, and jump off. Yeah, and then just destroy it. Throw each other into it. Like that's the stuff where it's like, why are they doing this? Why, like, if the goal is to get up and grab this thing, why are they building all this structure over here? It just doesn't make any sense. Other than like
that's the sort of shit that takes you out of of why is this happening? Or we watched Money in the Bank this past Sunday, and I was sitting there discussing it with my friends. I was like, dude, like, watch Kevin Owens climb this ladder. He's going to try to climb the ladder like he's really trying to climb the fucking ladder and get something. And he did. And he went up there, and so did The Miz, and like they all did, because none of them did that like exaggerated, sluggish step, like whatever. But there was a few points like where I think Finn Balor they were outside, and like it ended up being Kevin Owens coming off the ladder through the table, and it was like, why the fuck did you climb up a 20-foot ladder
Yeah.
that was over by the announcing table? Like, that serves zero purpose except for you to get fucked up
Yeah.
and taken out of the match. And that's the sort of shit that makes it dumb. But
they're great spots, but
right,
it's like,
they're great spots.
But then it just becomes like
A stunt show.
and, it's Indiana Jones stunt show, which is great. Who doesn't love the Indy stunt show? It's Universal Studios. It's wonderful, but it's not it's different than pro wrestling. And that's the great thing about the Indies, and maybe the reason Indies are. I do agree, Indies are bigger than they've been in a long time. I mean, a long time.
Okay, that said, I agree with you. And guys are making money. How many Young Buck shirts you ever see on the street?
I see some Young Bucks. I don't see Cena shirts on the street. I feel like if I had to,
I see more Cena shirts than Young Buck shirts.
I disagree.
Absolutely.
I think I disagree.
Okay.
I'm gonna think about it. I disagree. So this is strictly on I literally cannot remember anyone other than myself wearing a wrestling shirt. If my gut tells me, I mean, obviously there's the whole Spencer's Gifts thing that like if I'm walking around at stores, you're gonna see more Bullet Club shirts just because they don't sell WWE merchandise really. I don't know, maybe they sell in Target in the kids section, but I don't even know that to be true for sure. But you do, that they are like Spencer's. You see them like
Hot Topic is what you mean.
Yeah, did I say Spencer's?
Yeah, such as where you buy the dildos and the keychains that say "cunt on board" or something like that. Or,
oh, they've really gone downhill. Anyway,
you could probably get both of them at Hot Topic. I don't know.
I just think black lights, and then they're all the same. Any store that
neon
thrives
posters
on black light posters, and it's all the same.
And butt plugs.
But Hot Topic. Like, so you see them there and stuff. I would, if I had to put a gun to my head.
Let's pretend.
Okay, and you ask the question. Was the last wrestling shirt you saw on someone other than yourself, was it a Bullet Club shirt or a Cena or WWE
shirt?
My guess would be a Bullet Club shirt. I mean, for sure, just at the wrestling show. I mean, the last time I saw one was the Dynamo Pro show. I for sure saw some Bullet Club shirts.
Okay.
I did not see any WWE shirts other than the Mega Power shirt I was wearing.
Right.
Which to
be fair, isn't a WWE shirt either. It's a retro WWF shirt.
That's true. They sell on WWE.com. But it's not for anybody. It's not for a current product. It's not supporting a current wrestler.
I do like that shirt you have on right now. That's a fucking dope shirt. So he's wearing a shirt with a double cage. It's like a silhouette. I can't really tell.
I mean, you can get this on WWE.com.
It says War Games, and there's the double cage.
Yeah, you can see. I think that's Dusty right there, probably. No, I think that's one of the Road Warriors.
That's Road Warrior. It looks like Luger maybe there. Yeah. That looks like Ric Flair.
It's a sweet shirt.
Yeah, it's a sweet shirt for sure. Thank you for listening to episode 2 of the Grappling Cooperative. Look for more episodes of the Grappling Cooperative, a comedy suplex production, on our website at comedysuplex.xyz. Episode 3 should be out soon. If you would like to support our show, we have a PayPal donate option where you can make a one-time donation or become a patron at patreon.com/comedysuplex. And for $1.99 a month, you can get extended, commercial-free editions of our show, plus exclusive bonus content. Please also subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter at Comedy Suplex and at Grappling C. That's Grappling and the letter C. Please follow me as well at Peace Machine and the Viggity for more wackiness. For John, the Nature Boy, and the Viggity, who cares?